I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to my sponsor, P2 Collectibles, located at 204 East McGalley Road in Muncie and on eBay as well. So next time you're here in Muncie, let us know. Come give us a visit. Hey, what is up, y'all? This is Alex from Plus3 TCG, and I'm coming at y'all with a tournament report and a deck profile for my going second Spyral deck that I played today, actually, at the Indianapolis Regional. The goal today was nothing other than to get a top, so pretty much just go X1 and try to only lose once during the day, ideally not losing at all. However, that was not in the cards today. I took an X3 essentially. So without further ado, we're hopping right into the profile. Playing 3 Super Agent, fairly standard still. It's a card you're trying to open when you're playing going second Spyral. 3 Tough, same thing. If you can open up a Spyral, Super Agent and a Tough, you can usually get into double helix, which means you got into the combo. Tough is ideally the one you're opening with because you can just call it wrong, and then if you open Super Agent, then you can call it right. And we have our one-ofs, Quick Fix, Drone, Last Resort, Master Plan, and Sleeper. Very standard, not too much changing there. And then we have Nightmare, Corruptor, Ibly as our monsters. Well, this one you'd never ever want to see. You don't want to open these last 3, really. You don't want to open Sleeper, Master Plan, or Ibly. You'd rather just like special this from deck. Same thing with Master Plan, and then Sleeper you'd rather just search and not open. But these are the cards you kind of want to start with. If you can start with any of these and a Super Agent that you call correctly, that is usually the combo minus the top 3 cards that I mentioned. And then we're going to go into the starter cards. Going to do this deck profile a little bit differently. So from here, playing 1 Rhoda for our starter. The kind of, I wouldn't say the broken one-ofs, but these ones are pretty broken. 1 for 1 and Foolish Burial. If you can resolve 1 for 1, you should be winning the game, because that is the combo right there. You can just set up a double helix right away if you didn't draw into any of the other pieces, and if you did, that's all right too. Then Rhoda's searching you, any of your Toughs or your Super Agents, and then we have the Foolish Burial to send, I guess, whatever we need, but for the most part we're just trying to send Quick Fix. And then we're playing 3 Terraformings for our other starters because we're trying to get into our field spells pretty quickly, because we can actually afford to draw them this time, even though there's only one that we're trying to draw, which is Spyral Resort. Because if you start with this and a Super Agent, that's the combo as well. These 2-card combos are still very live, which is what makes the deck so fun, but it also is kind of bricky because you have to play things like this, because this gets ogred a lot, and when this gets ogred, you need to have a follow-up play. So Pseudo Space can essentially be a pseudo Spyral Resort if you get this ogred, because if you get it ogred, you need a follow-up play, and that is essentially what this does. Then we're playing 3 bad starter cards, but it's still what I think is necessary because it helps you get into the combo. When you're going second, you need to try to break boards, and this can help you break the board, because you have, like, if you have a way to get into, let's say, the double helix combo, like Super Tough or Super Agent. Well, I mean, it's Spyral Tough, but now that it's in a Super, I always call it Super Tough. Anyways, so you open up Tough and Super Agent, but you call it wrong, so you can't, let's say you just can't do the combo, but you have Foolish Goods, that can get you there. And then the, I guess, revival stuff. The 1 Assault, this was actually a brick, and I'm considering cutting it because there was only one time today where this was effective, and I actually needed this to be in the grave so that I could complete the combo. And any other time it was just like to clear boards that I was pitching it for nightmare stuff, and that's what I mean by clearing boards. It was just being used as something to pitch. I didn't even have anything to summon, so there were times where I was just banishing this with Sleeper because I didn't need it anymore. I'd already had enough of a push with my actual just Spyral cards that using this to pitch with the nightmares was enough to clear boards, just not enough to like really like be, I don't want to say, I wouldn't say an MVP, but be a card that's like notable. So it's a potential cut. And then our other grave extenders, 2 Rescue. This card's great because it can interact with your grave while it's in grave and on field, so I think 2 is great. It's a combo piece and a grave extender. And then 2 other grave extenders, big red because they're searchable. I think 2 is important because if you can't win going second, your turn 1, then you need to be able to have the grind game, and I think having 2 big reds really helps you. And then another grave interactive card. That's what I think I have the problem with. I have so many grave interaction cards. I have 6, and it was bricky sometimes, but it was only bricky with the assault. So I'm potentially going to cut that, like I said, but the rest of these ratios are pretty good, because Monster Reborn going second is great. You can get there like Ultimate Conductor Tyrant, which I misplayed on. Shout out to Dom for pointing that out. And then there's a lot of stuff I can interact with this card. So going second, great card. Then we have our defensive cards. 3 Ash, it was great all day. 3 Droll, amazing all day. There were a couple times where like I sided it out because in the matchup it was bad, but in that case it was just a good side card. Against Pendulum, it won me that matchup. Against Goki, this card just pretty much wins you the game if you can establish a board over theirs. Like they can't add any cards back, so if you open this in Spyral against Goki, you should be winning. Or Gouki, however you say that name. I think it might be Gouki if you're like correctly pronouncing it. I'm not quite sure, but there were times, like I was saying, siding this out was good. It gave me the space, and I could put in I guess you could say additional hand traps, because I do play Red Reboot. And then speaking of additional hand traps, evenly matched. This was amazing all day. This also won my Pendulum matchup. For some reason, this card these 2 cards really liked me round 1. I was able to open up Droll and Evenly game 1, and then Ash and Evenly game 2 or Infinite Transients or Infinite Impermanence, which I played 2 of. And evenly matched. It was amazing. Stopping their Electromite, which I don't necessarily know if that was the right move, but like not being able to send Electromite or not being able to send Astrograph, stopping that play was really good. And if he had it, then he had it, I guess. But yeah, the main deck for the most part performed pretty well. Droll Unlock was like underwhelming at times because against ABC it wasn't that effective, and then the Assault card also was pretty lackluster and underwhelming. Ibly sucked to draw as well. I don't know if I necessarily agreed with Hanko Chow's reasoning behind not playing it. I know it's a brick, but it's a 1 of, and it doesn't necessarily shut the engine off. So I feel like with that amount of variance, I think that's the right term to use here. I think it's worth playing a 1 of, but I also can see why you would just cut it all together, because the Mermaid combo just extends you for when you have like the Nutty combo. Just Ibly by itself doesn't get you like too much. So I didn't mind playing it, but I could see why you would cut it. But I think it's good to play. It really helps the combo. On to the extra deck though. 2 Double Helix. 1, and then pretty much just the Nightmare package. All the Nightmare cards. Nightmare Goblin, or Nightmare Mermaid, Goblin, Cerberus, Phoenix, Unicorn, and Griffin. So let's talk about these for a second, because everyone understands how hyped these are. But I think this is a little overhyped. Griffin is honestly not the greatest, because it's a floodgate, which did help. It did help me in my Paleo matchup, but the Paleo matchup, like, I still lost. I mean, there's not much you can do when they have Wiretap, Solemn Judgment, Torrential, and 2 other traps. So I wasn't. They stopped my evenly match. They stopped my Summon with Solemn Judgment, and then like I was able to get rid of the other 2 back row with Twin Twister game 3. But I didn't really have much to go off of. Anyways, it was good to like be a pseudo floodgate. Unicorn was way more of an MVP, because not only did I link Double Helix and Master Plan away to make this to clear their board, but I also was able to go turn 1 against Trickstars, make Nightmare Unicorn, shuffle back my resort, and then do the combo to still get Trigate going second, which was absolutely insane. And then I made this to clear boards. I made every one of these, so all of them were useful, but honestly, Griffin's Effect is the least useful, because you're not really setting a lot unless you have Call to the Grave in your graveyards, or Call by the Grave, whatever that card is, the actual name is. You can set that. That's probably one of your most ideal ones, or you can, I guess, set the trap, but that's not as ideal. Everything else, like I said, it was really good. I used every single effect multiple times throughout the tournament. Link Karibo did not summon a lot, But Link Hero is, in theory, pretty good because it can allow you to get 1 into the Tri-Gate combo, and 2 can allow you to get the extra Link because you can have Mermaid and Link Karibo in your spots, and then that can easily get you, I won't say easily, but it's like an easy link away, because this, you can just link away your Quick Fix or your drone, and then this is easy because you just use any of the Nightmare Link monsters to summon that out. Underclock Taker, never summoned it once, but in theory it could come up for like game or something. Tri-Gate Wizard came up like 3 or 4 times. Like I said, even when I went second, if I opened evenly matched in the combo, you can still get it, which is nuts. That usually solidified game. Ningirsu in theory came up, but I just needed like more like extra deck spot removal, even though my deck pretty much did that already. So Ningirsu was kind of probably overkill, and I bet I probably could have played like I don't know, I guess a Princess Sprite, because I actually do not play Princess Sprite. But Decode Talker, that came up once to go for game, to go like the old school combo where you just go Decode, Sleeper, and an Agent. I did that once, so that was kind of fun. Blast in the Past. Borreload never made once, and Firewall never made once. It just wasn't as necessary. Someone pointed out that you could do like a Firewall combo with, where like instead of going Tri-Gate, you could do something where you went like Firewall, so that you could bounce the Ibly back from their side of the field and then normal summon it with like a Goblin or something like that, so that you can set another link. But I feel like with that combo, it would have to be a pretty nutty one. But that's neither here nor there. In theory, it's good, but since I'm not playing cherries, I never summoned these two, and like these were good cherries targets, but they also can come up in the Spyral match. But for the most part, the extra deck, I use almost every card, like I said, except for these two and then Ningirsu. But in theory, they were good. And then our side deck was pretty standard. 3 Kaiju. This is just like the board wipes. I was worried about Masterpiece and stuff, but Masterpiece, I never saw it. Rest in pieces, man. Rest in pieces, not peace. 3 Twin Twister for Altergeist and Trickstar, any back row heavy decks. And this was for Trickstar going first, because this deck cannot go second against Trickstar because Reincarnation will just blow us out of the water. So going first against Trickstar is really important. I also potentially think going first against ABC is important because, man, I lost against ABC and he main deck Skill Drain, which is pretty standard, but I don't have any outs to that in the main deck, so I couldn't do anything. There was nothing I could do to get over a Skill Drain. So I just didn't, and I had to scoop. But the rest of the side deck with Anti-Spell, this was alright against ABC and Trickstar and True Draco if I went first, but I usually went second against True Draco, unless for some reason they made me go first, which I never faced True Draco, and I don't think they would make me go first in the first place. And then Red Reboot for Altergeist and for like Paleo. Yeah, in theory this would have worked. I just never saw it against Paleo, and I never played Altergeist, so I was ready for it though. I saw a lot of Rogue. I think my first match was 2-0 against Pendulum. Not the FTK, I don't believe, or at least it never got to that point if it was the FTK. And then round 2 was ABC. I lost to that. I think that was 2-1. Round 3, I faced... Oh, what was it? Was it Trickstar? I think it might have been Trickstar. No, honestly, I cannot remember. But I won round 3. Round 4, I lost, I think. Yeah, and then round 5, I won. Round 6, everything's starting to, I guess, kind of get a blur. I know I faced, Dark Magicians. I beat that. Then, man, honestly, I'm just having a big blank on a lot of these. I know Frogs, not Altergeist, not True Draco, ABC, I faced that, Pendulum faced that, Dinos, I faced that twice. But yeah, cool tournament experience. Not much you can really learn though, especially when we're getting a new format. Brandish Maiden's gonna be here, or Sky Striker, whatever that deck's name is now. Looking forward to the new format, looking forward to seeing how Brandish works. I know that deck's going to be nuts, but we will see how it works without Needle Fiber. But appreciate y'all watching the profile. Let me know what you think about the ratios of my Spyral deck down in the comment section below. And this is Alex from +3 TCG. Signing out, y'all.